Hello guys and girls, welcome to the Be More podcast. This is Jack Williams and today is only going to be a relatively short episode, but I think it's going to really get you thinking and I do feel it's going to add a lot of value. And by the way, I just want to send a quick message to everyone who supports this podcast, who listens to this podcast, and to those people who have left me a review. I appreciate it more than you can possibly imagine. And I really appreciate you guys who are sharing the podcast on your Instagram stories, who are tagging me in it. It gives me more energy than you can possibly imagine. And I really do appreciate the support. And this is the goal of this podcast. I don't get paid to do this podcast. I don't have any sponsors or any ads or anything like that. I literally do it on a Saturday morning, after I've been to the gym, just to try and add some value, and just to try and help people really with things that have helped me in my life and some of the lessons that I've learned through my own journey, through adversity, through challenging times. And I just want to share them with other people just so you maybe don't have to go through those times where you're going through the painful times, but instead you can learn things on this podcast. And rather than just listening and learning and hearing things, there's a real difference between hearing something and then putting it into action, because that's where you really learn, is when you go and action the things that I'm going to be speaking about in this podcast. It's the same when you read any books or listen to any audio books or listen to any podcasts. It's only really when you action the things that you're listening to that things really, really change. Like, for example, I was in the gym this morning, I was listening to an audio book, and there was a few moments where I was training and I was like, wow, I'm going to have to pause that audio and replay that so I can write it down, so I can really start to think, how can I begin to action this? Because I've had Audible, which, for those who don't know what Audible is, it's like a audiobook basically app, if you like, that is linked up with Amazon. And I've had this app for, I'm guessing, 5 years now, and I've been paying $14.99 a month, so £15 a month, to get 2 books a month for the last 5 years. So my Audible has got, well, if you work out on 24 books a year, that times 5 is 125 audiobooks on, is that right? I think my maths is about right there, on my phone, right? Of books that I've just been listening to in my passive time. So whether I'll be driving my car, this is something I talk about a lot on my podcast, but it's something that is so easy to hear, but not so easy to implement. And it's not like, people are like, what, 125 books? But guys, it's taken 5 years. The time is going to go by anyway. It's just changing that habit. So for me, it's a habit now. Whenever I get in my car, whenever I go to the gym, whenever I'm going for a walk, or whenever I'm going for a run, it's a habit for me really to pick up Audible and just play an audiobook. So that's how I've got through so much content. And that's how the person I am today at 29 is so different to the person who I was at 24. And I'm going to talk about that quite a lot today, because my topic today is your life. And each of us as human beings, we are either a warning or an example. And this is something that I learned from Jim Rohn. And when I first heard it, it really hit me, because at that time in my life, it was about 5 years ago, I was listening to Jim Rohn on YouTube. And by the way, Jim Rohn is definitely my favourite person to listen to. And I love listening to his YouTube videos, to his motivational talks, to his audiobooks. Like, most of those 124 books are Jim Rohn. He is definitely my favourite author, favourite speaker, favourite philosopher of all time. And this is something that he speaks about. It says each of us in our life, we are either warnings or examples. So when I look back to when I was 24 and I was listening to Jim Rohn talking about this, I thought to myself, am I a warning or am I an example? Now, there were some areas in my life where maybe I was a half decent example. I was quite fit. I was playing football at the time. I was moving myself. Like, I was trying to get up and do something in my life. Like, I was training some personal training clients. I was helping them in their life. So there was areas where I was being quite a good example. I was consistent with my training. But there was other areas where I definitely wasn't. Like, I was, at that time, I was bad with things like gambling. I was bad with the weekend. It would be drugs, alcohol, and even if I look at little things, like when I look at them now, and I look back, like at the time I was in quite a lot of debt, that's not a good example. Someone who is bad with money, for me, if you're living month to month like I was, that's not a good example. Like, it's not a good example to let's say you've got kids, or you've got like younger family watching, like cousins or whatever, or anyone who's watching. Like, your life is either a warning or an example, and sometimes we can hide these things, and the culture we live in right now it's almost like not spoken about, things like that. But most people in everyday life, all you need to do, look at is the statistics across the whole world, is most people don't have an extra £1,000 in savings. Most people are living month to month. This isn't an example. This is a warning, right? And just be careful who you hang around and who you listen to, because you'll be led into this false sense of security or whatever, to think, oh, everyone else is like this, so it's okay. If the masses is like it, that doesn't make it okay, right? And I look back in my life when I think, oh yeah, but everyone has a bet and does gambling and things like that, but not everyone was gambling to the extent that I was, and it wasn't controllable. Same with the weekends, like I was getting drunk way too much, doing stupid stuff, overeating, binge eating. These things are like, imagine if you, let's say I haven't got kids right now. I haven't got kids. I intend to have them in the future, and I can't wait to be a dad, right? But I imagine if I've got like my little boy who's 5, 6, 7, he's watching everything I do. He's listening to everything I say, but he's watching more what I do than he is to what I say. And sometimes I imagine myself right now, even in like my everyday life, I'm like, if I've got someone looking at me, are they looking at me as an inspiration? Are they looking at me as someone who is someone they want to follow, and someone, if they mimic what I'm doing, they're going to be successful in their life? Or if they watch what I'm doing, it's going to teach them bad habits. It's going to teach them a bad attitude. It's going to teach them to see things like, everything in life is how we see things, right? So am I teaching the people who are watching what I'm doing good things or bad things? Everything. How are you showing up? How are you showing up? Because some people think it doesn't matter. It matters. It matters so much. It doesn't matter if you've got kids or not. I was just trying to create an imagination there. Everything matters. How you show up matters. Whether you snooze the alarm, it matters. How much money you have in your bank, it matters, guys. And this might sound like your fitness, it matters. Your eating habits, it matters. Your what you listen to, who you're listening to, your thinking, it all matters so much. And this is something I was listening to this morning in my audiobook. I'm listening to the 10X Rule at the moment by Grant Cardone, right? I put it back on this one. I've listened to this book a few times, and I've read the book. I've watched a few of Grant's events virtually, and one of my goals is to go to one of his events. And one of his chapters in the 10X Rule is, your success is your duty. Success is your duty. And he speaks about this in the book, and it's such a good chapter, because he speaks about, so many people will try and justify, and they'll say success isn't everything, money isn't everything, and all these different things, right? And Grant's saying it's not for the money, it's not for the success, it's for the legacy you leave, it's for the example you're setting to others, it's for, you'll be happier because you're doing your best. Whereas so many people, they're just coasting through their life. And this is one of the biggest dream killers, and this is one of the biggest things for me that makes people feel the way they feel. Like, we've got a mental health epidemic right now. There's so much rubbish in the news about this coronavirus, right? And I hate the word. And by the way, most people I talk to, I ban them from talking to me about it, because I'm so sick of this stuff, right? But people, the news and the media are leading us to believe that this is the pandemic. It's not. The pandemic really is how people are thinking, their mental health, their physical health, their financial health. They're waking up every single day. People are waking up every day, and they're worried and they're in fear, instead of being excited about the things they can go and accomplish, about their goals, about their dreams, about what they're going to go and do in their life, about the example they can set to others, about the things they can go and do. And I'm getting into this now. I can feel it in my energy. It's picking up. But guys, it is your duty. It is your responsibility to be successful, to be healthy, to be kind to others, to have great habits, to do more than you get paid for. No matter what industry you work in, go and become the best. Go and do the best. Not better, not in comparison to others, by the way. The best you can be. And this is something that I got very early on when I started listening to a guy called Brian Tracy. I really like Brian Tracy's books. Robin is the same. That's something that we had in common straight away when we first met, was we really liked Brian Tracy, similar to Jim Rohn, awesome speaker, awesome author, awesome businessman. And he basically says you can get to the top of any industry, which within a 5-year period, if you just study the things in that industry for 1 hour a day. And the things that I was speaking about at the beginning of this podcast, about listening to audiobooks, reading books, like guys, if you just studied these things in your spare time, 1 hour a day, added up over time through 5 years, if you applied what you've learned, you'd be at the top 3, 4, possibly 2% of your industry. Guys, it's fact. It's happened for me in my life. I'm the top 2% in my company, and I've been involved with it not even 4 years yet. And it's just because when I came in, I had this thirst for learning, this curiosity, and this willingness to go and implement the habit of choosing to spend an hour of my day learning from the best in my industry about how I can go and develop skills in the things that matter in my industry. Now, guys, any industry is the same. The key and the most important thing is your willingness to go and your discipline, and sometimes your sacrifice, right? You've got to be willing. For me, I was like, right, in my spare time when I'm driving or when I'm walking or when I'm in the gym, I'm going to have to be willing to sacrifice Spotify and music to do this. And you guys, you can't have instant gratification because, you're going to feel good when you're a little pick up if you put Drake on or whatever, right? And by the way, I occasionally do listen to Drake or whatever, but the most important thing is to do the most important thing for my future, which is to be disciplined, listen to the things that are going to help me to grow as a person, right? And then I can act on those things to create a different future. So what you do in the dark, guys, it shows up in the light. When no one is watching, are you pressing play on Drake, whatever music you're listening to, right? Guys, no problem, listen to music, but make sure you get your hour a day in, because in 5 years, that 5 years is gonna come, right? And in 5 years' time, I'm going to be 34. I know I'm going to be a better person than I am today because I'm constantly working. I'm aggressively working on myself every single day. When I finished school, I didn't finish learning. Guys, this is the most important thing. I was a rubbish learner in school. And just because maybe that was you too, that doesn't need to become your identity for your whole life. I decided at 23, 24, that was enough. For things to change, I knew I had to change. For things to get better, I knew I had to go and get better myself. So I would spend some of my spare time developing skills, learning to audios, reading books, getting around better people, and because it can massively change your situation. And it's not overnight, but over time, right? So it's being consistent and putting in the work. And guys, you'll go and do the work that you'll learn in these books, and you'll be faced with adversity, you'll be faced with challenges, you'll be faced with opinion. Are you going to continue to see it through? The first few years can be dark sometimes, right? Because you're changing and people around you don't like the fact that you're changing. Guys, that's the best bit, right? You've got to go and be like, yes. If other people are beginning to say, why are you changing, and challenging you, that means what you're doing is working. It means you're changing, right? Keep going. Your friends and your family sometimes will want you to stay close to them because they don't want you to see you disappear. But really, you've got to do this for them, right? At first, they're not going to understand. But in 5 years' time, when you're paying off their mortgages, when you're doing things for them that they could never do on their own, that's when it really pays. That's when it shows. So go and do more than you get paid for. Go and have that belief before the results are there, and stop waiting for other people's approval, other people's permission to go and do these things in your own life. And this is something that I wanted to share as well, just to end really today. Guys, your outcomes in life are a lagging measure of your habits. Your net worth is a lagging measure of your financial habits. Your body weight is a lagging measure of your eating habits. All of these things are down to your habits. So what habits can you go and implement today to create a better future? When I read, there was 3 books I read on habits, right? Atomic Habits, which is my favourite, Compound Effect, which is really good, and The Slight Edge, which is also really good. They're all really good books on habits, right? And when I read them, I was like, right, how can I engineer habits in my life that can give me the results that I want in my life? Because I've decided, you've got to start with the goal, guys. You've got to start with the goal is, it has to be clear. So for me, I was like, right, I've got clear goals in how I want to look and feel in my own health, in my own body, in my physique, in my performance. How do I want to look and feel? Now, what habits can I create in my life that can help me guarantee that end result, because it is possible. Any result is possible. Any person that may inspire you on Instagram with their current results in their health, whatever, it's possible for you too. First of all, you have to set the goal. Second of all, you have to believe it. But then the third, you've got to put the habits in place and execute on creating those habits in your life every single day, and the results will come. It's inevitable, right? And if you're struggling with results when it comes to your health, hit me up. I can help you with this, right? This is what I do for a living. Same when it comes to your financial results, right? It's okay if you're listening to this podcast and you might be in the position where you're like, financially, you are living month to month right now. It doesn't matter, right? You don't have to continue being a warning. You can change, right? You can go and develop skills. You can go work hard on your job to get a pay rise. You can go and start a side hustle. You can go and start building a side business. You can go and start investing your time into developing skills to go and earn additional income in other streams, right? In other ways. Multiple streams of income is what the goal is, right? But go and become the best. Don't develop too many different streams without becoming good in any of them, right? This is something I see happen a lot, is people who are broke are saying, oh, millionaires have 7 streams of income, so I'm going to go and develop 7 streams of income. Like, great. Well, you can go and develop one first and develop it really well with becoming the best you can in that field. And then you can use the income from that thing that's coming in to then go and invest in other things, right? That's all I've been able to do. I've not got multiple streams of income from different projects, for example. I have multiple streams of income from one thing, right? Because I've gone and mastered that one thing that's created the opportunities for me in my life to go and earn multiple streams of income, which is why network marketing is my favorite, can't be beaten in my opinion in any industry because of what it can offer when it comes to multiple streams of income. So I think I've covered everything today, guys. Success, happiness, your health, it's your duty and your responsibility, guys. So show up, be the best you can. I hope you're getting value from these podcasts. Please do share on your Instagram stories or wherever you're listening to this. Please do leave me a review. I do really appreciate it. And the goal is just to help more people with this podcast. And as long as you guys are getting value, I'll continue to show up and deliver as much value as I can to help you guys in your journey. And this is just things that I've done, not just things that I've read. It's easy to sit and read a book. Well, it's not, but you can sit and read a book, right? But the difference is when you read something and apply it into your life, then you can talk about it and go and do things, right? Just go and do stuff. That's when you're going to go and learn in your journey. And also, I still don't know how to do it, really. I've been using this app to do this podcast. I don't know how to bring on a person and still record it through this app unless I'm with the person. But I do want to bring guest songs. I do think that I'll bring good value. And some of the best podcasts I listen to are interview form. So, yes, if anyone knows of anyone who they think would be cool for me to interview on this podcast, someone that's out there doing the work, someone who's out there setting a great example in all the areas that I was talking about today, then I want to get them on and I want to talk to them. I want to understand their why, reverse engineer some of the things that they're achieving, their habits, what they're doing, so you guys can listen and implement it yourself as well. So yeah, if you know anyone, please do recommend them to me. Send me a message and let me know what your thoughts are. But yeah, I appreciate you guys. Have an awesome weekend or whatever day it is you're listening to this on. Have a great day, and I will speak to you all soon. Take care. Bye-bye.